In an effort to keep up with Apple and to continue copying Apple's products like it's been doing, Samsung pretty soon is going to be releasing the Galaxy Note 5, which I'll obviously be making a review on once I get it in my hands. And they'll also obviously be releasing yet another Galaxy S6 Edge phone eventually. But I just think that the funniest thing about this is that all of the stuff that the Samsung fanboys kept on insulting Apple products over, like the ability to remove their battery and the ability to remove their memory cards, all of that's pretty much gone now. And from the looks of these screens, it appears that Samsung has just given up and simply copied Apple, and instead of having that ridiculous Android layout that's confusing as shit, what they've done is they've just let all of the apps just sit out in the open, and now you can just simply peruse them and figure out which one you want to activate, pretty much the same as you would do with iOS. And then, obviously, they'll probably put on a better camera and everything, but from what I'm seeing, it looks pretty boring, and it doesn't look like it's going to be as exciting as the iPhone 6s. And me personally, I won't be getting the 6S. I'll wait for the 7 because it'll have everything that the 6S has. But any problems that they experience with the phone will obviously be, dealt with, worked out, and improved. But it's going to be really interesting for me to see what happens, because I'm almost certain that a lot of the Galaxy fanboys are going to be online crying and telling everybody not to buy the new Galaxy Note 5. They'll be telling everybody, instead of buying the new models, to keep the old models, because they're just so angry that they're getting closer and closer to what Apple's been putting out since day one. And the simple fact of the matter is, Samsung jumped on that bandwagon about having all this customizability, but the problem is, when you have people going cheap on their memory cards and getting cheap knockoff memory cards that are cheap Chinese-made plastic thrown together in China, and not being certain that any of that shit will actually work when you get it over here to America, what ends up happening is somebody buys the stuff, puts it in the phone, and then ends up losing all of their files and records, and then they want to blame Samsung, which is the entire reason why Apple always simply charged you more and just put in their own SSD or their solid-state memory type back then. So now Samsung has become exactly what Apple always was. Now, I've been criticizing Samsung from the get-go, saying Samsung was doing nothing but cloning iPhone, and now they've just basically went and beat me to the punch, and they actually made an iPhone clone now. So yeah, it has the S Pen and it has all that nonsense that, nobody really needs. Because I'll tell you, honestly, everybody who I know who has a Galaxy Note, they always lose their pen like a week in. Some people maybe 2 weeks in. But it looks like more garbage, in my opinion. And I also noticed that this one has that regular USB type plug. USB, the third iteration of USB is coming, where you have the plug that you can turn inside out. You can turn it on either side and it won't matter. You can still plug it. So this way, when you wake up in the middle of the night and you need to charge this piece of garbage, you just plug the plug in, and it doesn't really matter what side you go. It's like the iPhone's lightning cable. And it's amazing that iPhone actually, beat the industry to the punch, and they said, you know what, let's do this now. Let's make this all digital cable. See, and that's the reason why I stick with Apple. They keep coming up with innovative designs, or they take old designs and they use the best that they can use, and they throw it together, and they, charge you, and then they pay, and you pay for it. But the simple fact of the matter is, Samsung can't touch Apple simply because their stuff is just, it's undesirable. It's not luxurious. It's not exciting. It's like, I have enough money to buy anything I really want right now. And the simple fact of the matter is that I look at this stuff and I just shake my head and I say, this shit is boring. So I don't want it. I can't even get past this screen right here. This looks exactly like an iPhone. In fact, Apple should sue Samsung a couple more times and keep winning injunctions, because this is ridiculous. That screen right there looks exactly like an iPhone 6. The only difference is those buttons at the bottom and that outline for the headphone jack, the headphone at the top. That's the only difference. If Samsung could get away with it, they'd be running iOS on their device, because they know Android sucks. And that's just that. And it's disgusting. This is the reason why it's so hard to be an American innovator. Whatever you design, whatever you build, it's going to be ripped off by some other company, and it's going to be built in some Chinese sweatshop with kids making this garbage for pennies on the dollar. It's just disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. If they could, they would build an exact iPhone clone with the word Samsung on it, if they could. But thank God that we sue the hell out of them when they try to do stupid nonsense like that. But this looks horrible. This looks absolutely horrible. No thank you, do not want. So anybody who is planning to get one, well, I've never seen a line of people waiting to get their hands on any Samsung device. I've never seen one. I've never seen people camped out at stores trying to get their hands on a new Samsung product. So anybody who did get one, hopefully you enjoy it. But I'll be waiting for the iPhone 7.